Hello, my name is Nicholas Navarro, and today I will be interviewing Anna for the Global Indigenous Titans. Anna, can you please tell us your name and what is your major was at Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah, my name is Anna Tiger. I attended Cal State Fullerton in 2007 to 2013. I majored in studio arts with a concentration in graphic design and photography.
So how would you identify yourself? Feel free to share your tribal affiliation, your preferred gender pronouns, or anything else you would like to share.
My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am Native. Specifically, I am Navajo, or we call ourselves Diné. And well, I'm enrolled in Navajo, but I'm also Choctaw, Muskogee, and Seminole on my dad's side.
Oh, you're Choctaw, huh? Halito.
Alita.
So halito means hello in Choctaw.
That's the only word I know.
Halito, kimichokma.
Nice.
Hello, how are you? Is what it means. Perfect. Another Choctaw. So happy. So what study abroad and global engagement program did you do? And please include where you went and when.
So I studied in South Korea, in Seoul, at Korea University. I went under a non-CSUF program, and I went during the spring of 2012.
Great. So what made you interested in studying abroad?
First, I wanted to learn Korean, and I was looking into Japanese as well, but I went into the Korean language class they have at CSUF, and I took a year of classes before I started actually applying to go study there, because the teacher kept telling us it's possible to go and it's easy application process and it's a great experience. So
yeah, so I think it's a great thing to do is study a little bit of a language before you go. It definitely help you transition.
Yeah, I was not lost. A lot of the members I went with were like lost and they depended on me to read things.
That's great. So what is one of your favorite memories from abroad?
I have so many, because after I studied abroad, I came back and graduated, and I went back and lived there for 8 years. So a lot of the memories have kind of just piled onto each other. From when I was a student, I would say the best memories were with my group, because we all went there together as students, and then we didn't know anybody, so we were like still hanging out together as much as we could. So one of the best times we had as students would probably be when we were hanging out on the lawn. There's like the outdoor lawns in front of the school where we can just order chicken and have some like group picnic in a way. Yeah, that was really fun. And we just like talk and hang out there for hours.
Yeah, I think food is a big thing in Korea, especially there's a lot of night markets there. So when I visited Korea twice, so I always make sure I go to night markets. So as a Native American Indigenous student, what is it like for you to go through the study abroad process of applying and then adjusting to life abroad once you got there?
As for the process, it was a little bit difficult. I had no idea I needed so much to go to another country. And my whole family, they think it's impossible. They're like, I can never go. How can you do that? Like they don't they don't understand what I went through, but they do think it's impossible. It's not really. Sorry to go back and forth, but at first it was overwhelming. because none of my family studied abroad. They don't know anything about the process. I had to rely a lot on my friends and work colleagues because I worked with the Women's Center, which was next to the study abroad office at the time.
Yeah.
So I just went over there after work and asked them, like, how do I do this? What's this? And they just coached me through it. And I got all the help I needed. Adjusting to life abroad as an Indigenous student. Well, I feel like growing up Native, I'm always kind of looking like I'm on the outside looking in. I never fit in with American culture because I grew up differently. Like I was taught different ways. So adjusting to life in Korea kind of was the same. You know, I was still an outsider looking in, but now it was more like I'm American now. It was more concrete. I'm American and I'm looking into Korean culture. And even then I was like treated differently and the way people react would be different as well.
I definitely agree. A lot of similar things with you. Knowing that my family did it as well, there's just so many questions, but the study abroad office is there to help you. Coming from a Native American or Indigenous background, what unique strengths and experiences or perspectives helped you with study abroad?
My grandma always taught me to just be respectful and listen, like listen first and then react.
Yeah.
And also like watch what you say. There's a saying in Navajo, it's about walking in beauty. So not only, it's not about being beautiful, it's about having beautiful actions, having beautiful words, not like trying to call something out like that's wrong. You have to look at it in a different way and not put your own values on it, I guess. So that helped me when I was adjusting to the culture, because a lot of small things were different, like how you order food or what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. Those things were like, wait, there's a different way to do these things. So just like taking a step back and listening and just kind of being patient with my own learning, it helped me adjust. Well, obviously I stayed there 8 years. I got married to a Korean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have a half Korean child too. So
oh, that's great. That's great.
It's always helped me adjust to my in-laws and the culture they have.
Oh, that's perfect. So as a Native American Indigenous student studying abroad, did you get a chance to actively share or talk about your culture with others while abroad?
Yeah, so actually, when I was in school, I was the president of the Intertribal Student Council the whole time I was in school. So like 2007,
Oh.
2013, I had a pretty strong reign.
Wow.
But so I was always talking about Native American issues when I was in school. I was always active. I was always participating everywhere. Everyone knew me when I went to powwows and stuff. And then when I went abroad, it was like a blank slate, right? Like,
Yeah.
no one knows me now. I'd be a whole new person. But even then, people were like, where are you from? And then I was like, I'm Native American. And they're like, what? You know, I never met a Native before. Or I didn't know they still existed. And I'm here like, I'm here. Hello, nice to meet you. You now know a Native, so lucky for you. But I didn't get that snarky. There was always a chance to teach people about my culture and where I'm from and how we live or what we do now. Also, like randomly, one time I got into a taxi and this Korean taxi driver was just driving and he looked in his mirror and he's like, he turned around, he's like, are you Native American? And I was like, yes, I am. how did you know that? And he's like, I can tell. He's like, your bone structure, your cheekbones. He's
Bone
like,
structure, okay.
yeah. I was just like, well, yeah, that's great. How do you know about natives? And he told me this whole story about how he studied them for a while and he became fascinated with Navajo code talkers
Yeah.
during the war, and then how he really respected them because they helped end the war with the fight against Japan. And like for Koreans, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until he kind of told me how like deeply he felt. And he's like, thank you. And I didn't have to really pay for that taxi ride, but I did because he's like, I don't feel good. You need to take my money. He's like, no, your people help me or help our people. And I was like, just take the money. I ran away. But he's not the only one I met who knew like I was Native, and there was always that level of surprise. Like people do know we exist outside of America. And I think that's funny too, because some Americans don't think like we're still here.
Yeah.
And there's other people who do. So it's great that, we still have that space.
Yeah. I had a similar thing happen in Japan. I had to share my story. But one of the funny things that I found is they had like Native American artifacts like, selling at a store, but they didn't know it was Native American or indigenous. And so I thought that I was like, why is this even here? But they were interested in it. So it definitely made obviously sharing our stories, being able to teach people and bring awareness to all of our culture and issues and what's surrounding them.
On that note, I did go to Japan maybe like 4 or 5 times, especially Tokyo. And I found like this Native section where they're selling like all these turquoise, like bigger rings than this. And they're just like huge rooms of it. And I'm just like, this is where all our stuff is. And then just for fun, I bought a Kokopelli, the flute dancer.
Okay.
I got a Kokopelli keychain and I sent it to my mom. I was like, Mom, this is from Japan.
Yeah, so I'm still curious, where did they get this stuff? So maybe one day we'll get an answer on that.
I know on the Navajo reservation, there's a Japanese photographer.
Okay.
Yeah. And I met this other guy who was decked out in Native stuff, and he found me in Japan, my hostel. He's all like, you're Native American? And he knew all about, because he visits the reservations. I'm like, just how? How did this start? What's happening? It's so interesting.
Yeah. So how did your perception of yourself change as a result of studying abroad?
My perception, I don't know if it changed that much. I felt more confident in myself, my ability to do things on my own. When I'm living in California, I had my family to rely on a lot. They live within an hour from me, so if I needed something, they'd always come out and help me, like no matter what. But now it's like on my own. So I learned to rely on my friends too, and create that like friend network that's more like a family. Like we're always going to help each other. We're always going to be with each other. So it also helped me like learn who's a friend and who just wants to like hang out and party or something. So I think I learned a lot about growing up, especially.
Definitely for me, it was the first time I was ever by myself. So, and it's kind of scary at first, but I think it's a great step towards independence and growing up, part of growing up. So why do you think it is important for students, especially Native American and Indigenous students, to participate in global experiences like study abroad?
I think it's important for Native students because it spreads the knowledge and awareness that we carry with us, right? Like, sure, it's good to learn about the other countries and cultures, of course. That'll just come with it when you're going there. You're like, oh wow, all these things are different. But what you're also bringing with you is, yourself, your teachings, your stories. And when you meet other people, they know who you are, and they tell others like, oh, I know this Native American person, and they shared with me this stuff. And even like when I was a teacher, I was sharing my knowledge with my students. Like, natives are not all in your history books, we're real people. We do this and this. And I showed them like my cousin's dancing videos. Yeah, my cousin does grass dance. So watch him now. This is how we dance and how we're still living. So it's important to, exchange cultures.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And then another point that I kind of thought of is that even though we are indigenous, there's a many indigenous communities actually abroad. So hopefully, being able to connect with those people would be great.
Yeah, like I always wondered, like, who's indigenous of the places I visited. So I'd always ask, like, who was here before? And then they would really think about it, like, or we'd figure it out somehow.
Yeah. I know with Japan, we have the Ainu. A lot of people don't know about that. Or New Zealand, they have the Maori, I believe, culture there. So definitely a lot of natives around the world. And then what advice would you give to any students interested in studying abroad?
Like, they're just interested in it. They're not going right yet.
So yeah, any advice you would give to students that are interested in studying abroad?
Just go. Make it happen. Because, okay, this is what happened to me. I wanted to go to Korea. That was for sure. I have to go. I'm going to make it happen. I applied with the Fullerton, with the school program, but I think the deadline came too fast, so I couldn't get all my documents ready. And when I applied, I sent everything in, but I was missing a couple steps, so I got denied. And I was like, no. So I found this non-CSUF program. Their deadline was a little bit 2 weeks later. So I was like, I can still apply to that one. So I did, I got accepted, and I left. So I didn't take no for an answer. And I just went as I could. I took out a loan to go.
Yeah, definitely, I always thought, just I think if you're meant to do something, it will happen. And I think that's just a great thing with your story, even though you did miss that deadline, you were meant to go to Korea. So definitely, it happened for you. It happened.
Yeah.
All right, so that concludes our Global Indigenous Titans interview with Anna. Thank you, Anna, for taking your time off to tell us and bring us awareness about your experience in South Korea. And thank you so much.
Thank you. It's great talking to you.